Of the retinas are formed in the last trimester of pregnancy. So if a child is born prematurely, the retinas are often underdeveloped. In the 50s, incubators were overly oxygenated, which further complicated the retinopathy. Babies incubated with too much oxygen would routinely go blind. In my case, the retinas were scarred. Nystagmus is an additional complication of ROP. My eyes dart uncontrollably and often appear to be jumping in my head. Such darting eyes make it nearly impossible to focus. I was also born with strabismus, or crossed eyes, and though later surgery would try to correct this, the operation was only an aesthetic exercise. I never gained muscle control over my eyes. 2200 is the definition of legal blindness. What a normal person sees from a distance of 200 feet, the blind person will see from 20. In childhood, my best visual correction was 2200 in my left eye. With that eye, I had enough muscle control to place my nose on a piece of paper and perhaps make out something if the print was dark and large. Up until the age of 40, I could do this for a half hour at a time. Later, inoperable cataracts made this impossible. From the beginning, my right eye couldn't read and would hop like a starling in a hedge, recording glimpses of color at the tip of my nose. The sensorium of the blind who possess some marginal vision is, by turns, magical and disturbing. There's nothing in front of you, nothing behind. Now there is a shadow in the shape of a man who has appeared from the mist. How lovely and how terrible this is. It's a mad, holy vision, the repeated appearance and disappearance of the physical world. My sister once spent some time in meditation at a Hindu ashram in the south of Germany, and came home having seen the very air atomize into a dazzling whirlwind of living particles. Hearing her story, I thought of walking alone at dawn, the morning light like stained glass. I can see these things as I walk to the corner store for milk. It's like living inside an immense abstract painting. Jackson Pollock's drip canvas blue poles comes to mind, a tidal wash, an enormous animate cloud filled with light. This is glacial seeing, like lying on your back in an ice cave and staring up at the cobalt sun. The beauty is, of course, conditional. Many who have minimal sight are photophobic, like myself, and daylight is painful. I can't go outdoors without wearing the darkest possible glasses. When I enter a shop or restaurant, I am totally blind. When my eyes have adjusted, I still cannot read a menu or catch the eye of a waiter. My eyes dance in a private, rising field of silver threads, teeming greens, roses, and smoke. Such waltzing isn't easy. Raised to know I was blind, but taught to disavow it, I grew bent over like the dry tinder grass. I couldn't stand up proudly, nor could I retreat. I reflected my mother's complex bravery and denial and marched everywhere at dizzying speeds without a cane. Still, I remained ashamed of my blind self, that blackened dolman. The very words blind and blindness were scarcely to be spoken around me. I could see to this by my exemplary performance. My mother would avoid the word, relegating it to the province of cancer. Given my first pair of glasses at the age of 3, I carried them in secret to the garden and buried them under the wide leaves of a rhubarb plant. A year later, the glasses were discovered by the family that was subletting our house while my parents and I traveled to Scandinavia. They couldn't imagine how these tiny gold-framed spectacles had been interred in the earth. Once, when I was 9 or 10, my sister Carol, who is 4 years younger than I am, came home from school in a state of inspiration. She'd read a book in class about a young woman who went blind, and then found her life renewed with the help of a guide dog. Carol recalls how I threw snow at her as she pretended to be blind with the help of our family's golden retriever. I ran behind her, stinging her with ice. Who would choose to be blind? I would conquer space by hurtling through it. I wore telescopic glasses, suffered from crushing headaches, but still chose